quit my corporate job of 13 years to try the entrepreneurial thing. And when I took that leap, a number of people suggested that I should check out WIN, as we used to call AWE. I didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur, and I was a little intimidated to try it. And just as I walked through the door of the first meeting, I saw that I had a big peanut butter smear on my jacket from one of my girls hugging me goodbye on my way out. I wanted to turn around and go home. But I walked in the meeting and I saw a room full of welcoming faces. And I realized I wasn't the only one trying to balance a million different things. I had found my village, where you could voice your fears about growing your business and where people would push you to be the best you wanted to be, where you could show up as your genuine self. And I found love here, the kind of unconditional love you get from girlfriends who want the best for you. I spent a number of years on the programming committee with the best committee chair ever, Anne Marie Corner, and served on the board here for quite a few terms. I'm proud of the initiatives we worked on together, including the renaming of the group to AWE, the research we did on venture funding gaps for women in the region, the launching of the AWE Ventures Fund, and incredible programming. So thank you, AWE, for giving me this award. In fact, when Ellie Stang called me to talk about the Iris Newman Award, I thought she was calling to ask me to be on the selection committee. I broke into tears, literally, right, when she told me I'd been selected, because the previous winners had all been guideposts in some way. Irene Hanna, Maria Machikini, Roseanne Rosenthal, Maxine Ballin, Kate Shea, Fran Pierce, Denise Devine, Donna Carolus, and Brenda Gavin. For those of you who didn't know Brenda, in the words of Cheryl Neff, she was a pioneer in many ways, one of the first women in venture capital, one of the first venture capitalists in Philadelphia, a true hub of the possibilities of turning Philadelphia into a life sciences and venture capital hub. I miss Brenda very much, and I know many of you in this room do. So, the accidental story of my entrepreneurial journey. About 20 years ago, I left the corporate world, held my breath, and took the leap. I started down two paths at the time. One was helping George Marks and Rob Weber create an angel investment group called Robin Hood Ventures, one of the first organized angel groups in the country, and built with the intention of getting companies funded in the region. Robin Hood has grown over the years from a small group to 50+ investors, and we've invested in over 70 companies in the region. We've increased the number of women in our group significantly over the last several years. They bring tremendous strength to our group. And we've increased the number of women-led companies that we've invested in, which I'm also very proud of. Working to build Robin Hood with Rob, George, John Moore, Larry Brodsky, Joe Herbst, Dave Twersky, Glenn Gaddy, and others has been a truly amazing experience. At the same time, Jeffrey Babbitt and I started Antiphony, an innovation consulting firm. We work with strong leaders who want to accelerate innovation in their companies. Through Robin Hood, I met the incomparable, it's the only word I could think of, Coley, the incomparable Coley Brown. Together, we built Vision Mind, helping large companies find interesting startup technologies. I learned so much from Coley, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. Then, in 2014, I was ready to take the next leap. I loved working with entrepreneurs, and Temple gave me the opportunity to be the executive director of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Institute. I actually get paid to help entrepreneurs realize their dreams. It's one of the few jobs that actually pays to help entrepreneurs. Anyways, to grow a program within Temple and to connect Temple entrepreneurs to the larger Philadelphia ecosystem and impact entrepreneurship in the region is truly my dream job. I also get to spend a lot of time helping women entrepreneurs. At Temple, I created the Women's Entrepreneurship Organization, teach a course on empowering women through entrepreneurship, created a seed fund for women entrepreneurs, several of whom are in this room. So, here are my words of advice to this group. I'm sure you're wondering why I have a slide of Mitt Romney to the women's group. And for those of you who know my politics, you're really wondering why, right? So, in October 2012, Mitt Romney, in the midst of a political debate, was asked about women and the pay equity gap. He answered that when he was governor, I had the chance to pull together a cabinet and all the applicants seemed to be men. I went to a number of women's groups and said, can you help us find women? And they brought us whole binders full of women. Well, the internet exploded. Twitter went crazy. There were unforgettable memes that went viral. It inspired the most popular Halloween costume of the year, the binders filled with women, and I admit, I wore the costume. But let's unpack the statement a minute and look at the facts. The true story is that a group of women called MASGAP had decided they would assemble a list of qualified women, put all that info in binders, and hand it to whomever was elected governor. And that led to half of Romney's cabinet being women. And I've always respected Romney for that. Now, the forward-thinking action by MASGAP is what I want to talk about today. I believe that we should all have binders filled full of women, ready to be accessed at a moment's notice. I believe that we should all invest in women through social, investment, and emotional capital. I'll talk to you about each of these. So let's start with social capital. Social capital refers to the benefit of using your social networks. Throughout my career, my social networks have been strong, but my women networks have been like steel, strong, flexible, and resilient. At the beginning of my career, I worked at Anderson Consulting, which at the time was an awful place for women to work. Very few women stayed long enough to make it to manager, and the male partners decided to do a focus group to find out why. So we told them we were not part of the decision-making process, that we got left out of most of the discussions, we didn't get recommended for the good projects. And I'll never forget what one of the partners said to me. He said, business gets done in the men's locker room. Get used to it. You can't make this stuff up. So my takeaway, I was going to find a different company and be part of the discussion. So when I went to work at Shared Medical Systems, I immediately sought out the women there, and it was exhilarating. We helped each other out in so many ways. Needed to know where positions were opening up in the sales department? The social network would tell you. Needed to get the vice president of support to buy into your proposal? They'd get your proposal in front of the VP. Needed to know why your idea didn't get enough traction in the senior management meeting? The social network would give you the inside scoop about what killed it and help you get your idea through. I worked there for 13 years. I loved every minute of it. So, how do you use your social network to invest in women? Social networks that include people who trust and assist each other can be a powerful asset. In a strong network, you will think of each other when an opportunity arises. So, when you hear someone say they are looking for a new CFO, you should immediately go to your binders filled with women and pull out the name of at least one terrific female candidate. When you hear about a speaker panel, if you don't see at least one woman on the panel, you contact the organizer and give them the name of the woman who'd be great on the panel. Where's Dean? I saw you here. Is he still here? No? Ah, well, okay. I was especially impressed when Juliana Reyes called out PACT a few years ago, and I was impressed by Dean Miller's reaction to being called out. I'm proud to say that PACT now has a good representation of women speakers, and I appreciate Dean letting us help him. Some women invest in women through social capital by creating groups, like the Alliance of Women Entrepreneurs. One of the things I instituted a few years ago was the walk and talk. Any woman entrepreneur could call me, and I'd give her time to ask any questions that they might have about getting investors, as long as we could walk while talking, because I wanted the exercise. Every one of you in this room can do that. Now, how do you access social capital? You all should be looking for introductions that can advance your businesses. While it may seem obvious, you need to put thought into how you ask for introductions and to whom you want to be introduced. I call the technique, kiss my ask. First Round Capital, Dream Adventures, and many investors teach this concept, although they don't call it this. The people you're asking to introduce you to typically are very busy. Make it easy for the connector to make the introduction. If you don't, your request is likely to sit in the inbox underneath the several hundred emails the connector has set aside to deal with later. Give them a zingy short paragraph and a resume or pitch deck. Do the work for them. Then all they have to do is put their personal spin and off it goes. Be sure to let them know what happens from their introduction and keep them posted on your progress. So let's now talk about investment capital. Never has it been more important to help women with investment capital. Women are seeking capital investments, but are less successful than men in getting it. Why? Simply put, most investors want to invest in someone they can relate to, and generally, that is someone who is just like them. So, in 2017, 2.2% of venture capital funding went to women-led companies. Think about that for a second. That's staggering to me. That despite the fact that First Round Capital concluded that founding teams, including a woman, outperformed their all-male peers by 63%. So if only 26% of angel investors are women, if only 11% of women are venture capitalists, women start out at a disadvantage. The more women become investors, the more level the playing field. So I urge all of you who have the capital to be angel investors to consider it. But what if you aren't an accredited investor? You can still invest capital in women. With Kickstarter and other crowdfunding sources, even $20 makes a difference. Ask Camille Bell of Pound Cake, Morgan Berman of Milk Crate, Yasmin Mustafa of War for Good. If every Kickstarter payment, no matter how small, made a difference. And once you invest in Kickstarter, spread the word. If you tell 20 friends to invest $25 each, that's $500 and 20 points of validation that the entrepreneur needs. And finally, let's talk about emotional capital. 6 years ago, my husband and I split at the same time that my younger daughter left for college and my older daughter left the country on a great adventure. I could have been devastated, but my friends provided me with unlimited emotional capital, beginning with a friend who told me to stay with her in New York rather than driving home alone after dropping my daughter off at JFK. I am so grateful to so many people, including the friend who gave me the name of a great therapist, the friend who told me that amazing high heels solved all problems, the woman who made me wear the amazing heels and made sure I had places to wear them, the friend who sent me a song which became my coping anthem, the college friends who called to listen, the friends who kept me company during Eagle games, the elementary school friends who planned these wonderful weekend retreats, and so many more. And the funny thing is that while women are so good at giving emotional capital, we aren't always so good at asking for it. What I've learned is that friends do want to give, so let them. It's not a sign of weakness or shame that you need help. Let people give, and you'll send it on to the next person. Men live in a world of quid pro quo, keeping track of who's done what for whom, but we don't have to. And I'm really grateful for that too. So 2 other things I've learned along the way. Stop shooting around. That came from my elementary school friends, but stop shooting around. Say it with me. Stop shooting around. We all, particularly women, have things we believe we should do. It's the music that plays inside our head and can keep us from reaching our potential. The minute you stop thinking about the things you should do and focus on the things you want to do, the more likely you have alignment in your life. I spend a lot of time encouraging my colleagues to get out of their comfort zone when it comes to opportunities. There's the old adage of if a man meets 50% of the criteria, he will apply. But if a woman meets 90%, she won't deem herself worthy. It's important to be a voice of support and push all women to be confident in their abilities. In closing, this, today, feels like the Academy Awards for me. So in the spirit of the Academy, I'd like to thank all for this honor, the entrepreneurs in this room who make the world a very special place, all my friends and colleagues who are here from near and far, and I had no idea how far they were coming, my terrific Robin Hood members who have given me the greatest opportunity all these years, my team at Temple who are bringing entrepreneurship to a whole new level, my incredible parents who are over there felling, Alan for his unwavering support, and my daughters Rebecca and Rachel who are my pride and joy. So in summary, I challenge you to start building your binders full of women, stop shooting around, and remember to always kiss my ass.